Alright, today's task or job for the ambulance is probably one of the most daunting I've undertaken, especially for not being a mechanic. But I am going to replace the power steering box or gearbox, which is kind of difficult to see, but it's underneath here. I'm going to replace the one that's in there. I think it's kind of the stock Ford gearbox. It's kind of down in here and underneath the pump here. Hooks up to your steering. I think I've got the tools. I picked up a few extra supplies I need, and I am replacing it with this. This is called a Redhead steering gears, company up in Washington. It's kind of more of a heavy duty. It's a remanufactured product, which most times when you buy a steering gear box or for a older vehicle, that it's not a new product. It's usually a remanufactured, but they basically put in all new insides, gears, everything's replaced and beefed up, made heavy duty. And I think this will work a lot better with that heavier vehicle, the ambulance. And it's going to be fun. It'll be challenging. I'm not going to film every aspect, every step, because I really don't want to be focused on trying to, film it and comment on everything. I really want to focus on what I'm doing, which is going to take a lot, but I'm going to try to be methodical. I've seen quite a few videos and read. I've got the manual for the Ford. And like I said, there's a lot of information online already if you want to know how to do it step by step. There's videos on YouTube. So I've watched a number of those. I'm going to follow their directions, and hopefully everything will come off and I can put the new one on. And big reason is the steering is a little loose, but also this gearbox seems to be leaking steering fluid, and I'm always every day almost having to check it and add more fluid. And I've checked all the connections, the hoses and everything, and they don't seem to be leaking there, so it must be leaking, I think, out of where the gears come out, your pitman to your pitman arm, or on the other end where the steering linkage goes into. But anyway, I just washed it. I'm letting it cool down a little bit before I start, and then I'll get into it and I'll let you know how it turns out, and I'll show you the finished product. Alright, there it is, the old power steering box. What a mess. I was able to, probably 3 hours, but I was finally able to get it off, drop it down. Just some tight bolts, some bolts and things that I didn't want to strip or damage, so I had to really take my time. And the pitman arm puller that I got was too small to pull it off of. This is the arm to pull it off of here, but I was able to disconnect it from the steering linkage. This looks just like a big glob of grease and oil, and I actually went to the car wash and sprayed it off, using engine cleaner and all that stuff, gunk, and it still looks like just a big burnt chicken or turkey or something in a way. But there is, wow, what a mess. So I'm going to clean this up. I'm going to pull the arm off somehow, clean it up really good, and then install the new steering box. Oh man, talk about a chore trying to get this loose. The 3 bolts that hold it onto the frame, those were the easiest. The hardest part to remove really was one of these hoses that go in here. I really had to make sure I didn't strip anything or break anything so I can reuse them. Now the challenge will be to clean it up and pull that arm off of the that pitman arm off of the spindle there. So I'll get you updated. I'm gonna clean up inside here too. Make sure it's really nice and clean down in there where the new box is going. Pulled the steering column, or that linkage, that I'm not sure exactly what it's called, but that came off fairly easy. Just one screw or bolt and pull it out. Luckily this is an older vehicle with a lot of room. I've seen some videos where they're replacing it on new vehicles, and the whole section here is just covered with all sorts of, you know, hosings and air lines and filters, and I mean they could barely, you couldn't even see it. They had to remove so much stuff just to get in there. So luckily I do have a lot of room to work with. So I'll get back with you. All right, another project down. Got a new nice shiny steering gearbox mounted in. I'll see if I can show it to you. It's the Redhead. Let me see if I can get some more light in there. You can see the red top of the part of it on the front here, and it goes back connected to the steering arm, but it's a Redhead steering box. And let's see, right up there. It was a challenge. I didn't have all the right tools, but I improvised, made it work. I just got back from the car wash where I washed everything off, and so far no leaks. And which is good. I also bled it earlier. Got all the air out of the lines, and put in new fluid, which is took about a quart of power steering fluid. And normally whenever I'd put power steering fluid in, over time it would just spray or leak out, and I'd end up with it all over the wheel well, and it just made a mess. And so far nothing. I'm pretty pleased with it. This was kind of my most challenging project so far, as far as just, you know, something that is new to me, not being a mechanic. But I think it turned out well. It took all day. I ended up finishing just before sunset yesterday, and I returned the core, shipped that back so I don't have to pay a core charge, and now I'm ready for another project.